Yo, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. The last moments of Viktorija's life were caught on CCTV as she walked to a park with a young boy that she'd met on Facebook. Viktorija was 14 years old and the boy that was eventually convicted of her rape and murder was 16 years old. He has only now been revealed. His identity and his face also has now just been revealed. He's been named as Ayman Aziz, and he brutally raped and murdered the 14-year-old schoolgirl in a Wolverhampton park. At the time of this murder, I don't feel like it got a lot of coverage, and Viktorija's death, however graphic it was, it didn't really seem to get the same coverage as you'd expect from a young girl being brutally murdered for no reason. Viktorija was mercilessly killed when she was lured by her attacker to a late-night rendezvous in a wooden pavilion in Wolverhampton's West Park in April. And back then, her killer could not be named for legal reasons. The police said during the inquiry that the blood stained the West Park pavilion that was known locally as the Black House, that showed that the 14-year-old victim, Viktorija, had moved about while desperately trying to avoid the blows that were rained down on her and repeatedly hit after being clubbed to the floor. The CCTV shows Viktorija on April the 11th shopping with friends in the city and later on in the day in West Park, where she was later killed. She suffered more than 20 injuries and many of the blows were delivered with a hammer-like weapon that has never been found. The victim was dragged 150 metres to where her semi-naked body was discovered by a dog walker shortly after 7 AM the following morning. It's unclear when she was raped during the nightmare ordeal, they said. Viktorija knew her killer and they had spoken before, but then he renewed contact after several months of not talking via Facebook. 8 days before her murder, she was bombarded with requests to meet him after dark in the park so they could smoke cannabis, talk and hang out together. In actual fact, the prosecution said in court that he was determined to have sex with her and was trawling the internet for information regarding sex ahead of the fatal attack on April the 11th. The victim ignored repeated warnings from friends and relatives who realised the danger of accepting the invitation. He sent her a message at 10:30 on that evening saying that he was on his way and she left the house shortly afterwards. In the video, the detective in charge of the case explains how the brutal death shocked the police team investigating the murder. Viktorija's mother and stepfather also spoke about the awful moment they found out about the death. She lived in Whitmore Reens and the defendant had a rucksack on and was seen 2 hours later after the murder. He was pictured leaving the park after changing his trousers that must have been blood-soaked after the brutal beating that he gave the defenceless child. He left his home with the rucksack at 1:30 AM and did not return with the rucksack. He also deleted incriminating evidence from his iPhone. This included sexual material as well as Google searches requesting for advice on how to permanently delete a Facebook account such as the one that he owns. Police have not found items of clothing worn by her, and when he entered the park, trainers that matched his footprints were in blood at the scene of the killing. He was arrested on April the 13th, 24 hours after her body was found. The violence is presumed to have been triggered by Viktorija rebuffing the sexual advances of the teenager. He had no previous convictions, and he claimed to be suffering from depression and anxiety. But a psychiatric report revealed nothing in his mental state that could be used in his defence. Since then, actually, it's been determined that he's a paranoid schizophrenic. When he was being sentenced, he stood in the dock and faced the jury. He had a unanimous decision against him after 7 hours of deliberation. The trial lasted 2 weeks and he remained emotionless when the judge, Mr. Justice Jeremy Baker, told him, "You have been convicted of murder and rape. There is only one sentence I can impose on you, and that is a minimum sentence of life." And this actual murder is under a serious case review as well. That was the catch-up to the story, and Birmingham Live today have reported about the first picture of the evil rapist who murdered the schoolgirl. He was handed a life sentence and told to serve 19 years behind bars. He couldn't be identified back then due to his age, but the judge lifted the restrictions following an application by the media. The teenager's lawyers challenged the decision and the restrictions remained in place pending the appeal. He also said the teenager was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and had been bullied while in prison and was not attending any classes. The Lord Justice Burnett said 2 senior judges rejected Aziz's challenge to the Court of Appeal on the 25th of July, meaning that he can be named. He denied any wrongdoing throughout the whole trial, and the Lithuanian-born victim, Viktorija, was described in court by her mother as a one and only child. She was savagely beaten and dragged 150 yards to a bench where she was discovered later on. So rest in peace to Viktorija, and I'd really appreciate it if you leave your comments, your thoughts, and pay your respects in the comment section as well. I'll be back again very soon with some more news. Thank you for joining me, and please don't forget to subscribe. It really does help. Peace.